Good morning, class. This is Miss Cash. I'm making this recording to help you out with some of the work that you have today while I'm gone. So first off, you need to copy down any work that you didn't already have. Second off, no excuses for not trying some of this work because this video is going to help you get some ideas of what you can do here. All right. I want to go ahead and look at a couple of these problems. I'm going to do this in two parts because the computer seems to like shorter videos. So I'm going to do one video with the first three problems and another video with three more problems. So you'll need to watch this one and another one. Let's go ahead and begin with CL1-120. It's asking us to find some different functions, evaluate some functions. When it gives us there on A, f of 5, what it's asking us to do is come up here to f of x and fill in the number 5. Do notice that there is another function there, g of x. Problems B and D refer to g of x, and I'm going to let you guys work g of x on your own today. If you still have trouble with it today, ask me tomorrow and I will work g of x with you before I make you do the quiz. So on A, where it says f of 5, it means it wants me to fill 5 in anywhere I see x in this f of x function. Well, I've already got f of 5, so I'm going to say that it equals the square root of 5 plus 4, substituting the 5 where the x was. Well, 5 plus 4 is 9, so we have the square root of 9. You can easily use your calculator for this, but many of us know that the square root of 9 is simply 3. Now, I wanted to show you a different way to do this. I did show you this one other time, but I want to do it again because I want to make sure that it's perfectly clear how to do it. Another way to do this is to go to the y equals in your calculator and to type that function in. So we don't type f of x because f of x is the same as y and the calculator already has y equals there. All we're going to type is the square root of x plus 4. And once we've got that in, then we go to the table, so second table. And if we want to find f of 5, we're going to scroll down to where x is 5, just like before we substituted 5 for x. Notice that when I get down to the line where x is 5, my answer is 3, same as I got by doing it with algebra. But the nice thing about having this in the calculator is then when I get to question C, which asks me what is x if f of x is 10. Well, remember f of x is the same as y. So if y is 10, what is x? So I'm going to have to scroll till I find 10 in the y column. Now that may take quite some time because you can see it's growing fairly slowly. I'm going to skip forward by hitting second table set and telling the table to start at 90. I know where the answer is, that's why I knew 90. You would have to kind of guess. But at 90, you can notice that the y values are getting close to 10, 9.6, 9.7. And I get to y equals 10 right here when x is 96. All right, I'm going to let you try that for part B and D. And we're going to move on to 121. If I'm moving too fast, if you need some more time to look at this or copy it down, please feel free to pause the video. On CL1-121, we're asked for domain and range. We've talked much about domain and range, so if we're looking at this graph here, domain is our x values. It's left to right. We've talked about that several times now, left to right. That's not our answer, that's just a little hint. So starting at the left, it never stops, it has an arrow. So that means that it goes to negative infinity. I'm going to go ahead and see what the right side is. If I follow it to the right, it stops right here at this circle on 6. So since it's going to the left, those numbers are lower. It means less than. And we can say that x is less than 6. How come I didn't put the or equal to sign under there? Well, notice that this dot here is a circle. It is not filled in. If you don't fill in the circle, that is an indication to say it's not equal to. So we do not put the equal to line here. However, when we go to look at our range is bottom to top. Again, looking at the bottom, it points down. So there is no bottom, or the bottom goes to negative infinity. But the top, if I follow this around, seems to be right here where it turns around and heads back down. Well, that is the y value of 6. So it just so happens to both be 6. They aren't always that way. But on this one, y is still less than because it points down. But we're going to put the or equal to 6 here because there's no open dot or no hole in this curve where y equals 6. So we assume that it does equal 6 there. Again, pause if you need more time to look or think about that. We're moving on to 122. And on 122, it asks us to find the intersection or intersections, if there's more than one, for A and B. We're going to do A. I'm going to leave B for you. Easiest way to do this is I'm going to actually get a fresh calculator that hasn't been messed with. Easiest way to do this is to put the first y value in y1 and the second in y2. All right, so I've typed in the two equations that were on the paper. Now I'm going to look for their intersection. I like to start by looking at the graph, and I'm going to hit zoom 6 to make sure I have a standard window to look at it in. And when I get that graph, I can see that the graphs intersect right about here. And if I follow it down to the x-axis, it looks like they might intersect around -3. So I'm going to go to my table, and I'm going to look at -3 for my answer. Well, I went to -3 and noticed that my two y values do not match there. But that's okay because that was just a guess. And I can see if I look just one line down at -2, my y values match. Both y1 and y2 are 9 when x is -2. So my answer for this one is -2, 9. Now, many problems on quizzes and tests ask you to either show or explain your work. So we're going to need to explain our work. So what we'll say is we put our equations in y1 and 2. Then we looked for y1 to be equal to y2. Well, we looked in the table, right? So we looked for the spot where y1 was equal to y2. That was our intersection. But this short description is enough to tell me that you know what you're doing in finding the answer. I'm going to stop this video at this point. There will be another video showing you a few more problems.